General Hospital spoilers reveal that Drew is standing at a major crossroads in his life as shocking truths about his personal life begin to be exposed. His obsessive relationship with Willow and the truth about his affair with Nina, Willow's mother, are becoming the focal point of new shocks in Port Charles. The overlap of these emotional entanglements not only forces Drew to face serious personal consequences but also drags him into a whirlwind of criticism, suspicion, and distrust from those around him. The situation grows even more complicated when Willow, the woman Drew is obsessed with, learns about his past relationship with Nina. This truth not only destroys Drew's hopes of winning Willow's affection but also places him in a difficult position where he must confront her rejection and resentment. Willow feels betrayed, but she is also caught in a complicated relationship with her mother, driving her to a deeply hurtful state. The bond between them is now beyond repair. It doesn't stop there. Nina, who is also dragged into this chaotic situation, faces a dramatic family conflict. The knowledge that her relationship with Drew has contributed to an irreparable rift with her daughter will put Nina in an uncomfortable and painful situation. This not only heightens the tension between Nina and Willow but also forces Drew to take responsibility for the hurt he has caused. This revelation marks a significant turning point in the story, as Drew must not only deal with the consequences of his actions but also address the loss of trust from both Willow and Nina. Everything is spiraling out of his control, and these fractured relationships are becoming the center of new conflicts in Port Charles. This shift not only raises questions about Drew's future but also sparks concerns about whether he can find a way to repair his mistakes or if he will continue to spiral deeper into obsession and chaos. Willow still can't shake her attraction to Drew, despite the increasingly complicated issues between them. Drew's feelings for Willow are no longer just supportive but have become an obsession, driving him to do anything to protect her. However, when Diane, with her sharp legal skills, begins to take steps to remove Willow from custody, Willow is forced into a completely different situation. The growing feelings of loss and pressure make Willow unstable, forcing her to consider bold actions, even those that cross ethical lines. Drew, in his attempt to protect Willow, not only becomes an important ally but also encourages her to continue fighting. But their growing bond brings new problems. Drew, who is already obsessed with Willow, begins finding ways to help her win back custody, even if it means bending the law or getting involved in risky plans. His deep feelings for her make him vulnerable, and they both get caught up in a series of bold actions they believe will yield results, but in reality, they are full of danger. Willow, backed into a corner, decides she cannot continue standing still and let Diane control everything. She knows that if she doesn't act now, she might lose her children forever. This drives her to form bold plans, ready to cross boundaries to ensure she doesn't get excluded from Danny and Scout's lives. With Drew's help, they begin taking drastic steps, regardless of the risks and consequences. Drew, in an effort to prove his loyalty and love, not only stays by her side but is also willing to shoulder all responsibilities to protect Willow from harm. However, Diane is not an easy adversary to defeat. With her determination and strong legal background, Diane seems to always be one step ahead, forcing Willow and Drew to face even greater challenges. The tension not only arises from the legal battle but also from the pressure coming from people around Port Charles. People like Carly, Michael, and Nina all have their own perspectives on Willow and Drew's actions, adding emotional conflicts to the story. The story grows even more complex as secrets from Drew and Willow's past are slowly revealed. Drew's shady relationship with Nina not only hurts Willow but also shakes her trust in him. This raises the question of whether Drew is truly helping Willow out of love or simply to satisfy his possessiveness. On the other hand, Willow also struggles with feelings of guilt as she realizes she is relying too much on Drew, someone who was once close to her ex-husband Michael. Their reckless actions, although driven by the desire to protect their children, are slowly leading them down a path with no exit. The bond between them, instead of being a source of strength, becomes the origin of tension and instability. With every wrong step, they risk losing everything and hurting those they love the most. Willow's custody battle and Drew's blind actions are raising a series of questions. Can they overcome these challenges to protect their children, or will they pay a heavy price for their mistakes? Is the love between Drew and Willow strong enough to withstand the increasing pressure, or will it be the cause that drives them both into the abyss? This storyline is not just about love and sacrifice but also a harsh test of loyalty, responsibility, and the consequences of poor decisions. Viewers will surely be on the edge of their seats as the layers of tension unfold, revealing dramatic surprises in Port Charles. Monica's death has become the greatest shock in Drew's life, plunging him into a deep, dark place that no one could have anticipated. Monica was not only the only family member Drew could trust but also the emotional strength that helped him overcome life's challenges. This loss has left Drew without his final anchor, and it seems to be transforming him into a completely different person, darker and more dangerous than ever. In a state of grief and obsession, Drew begins to engage in increasingly extreme actions, unlike the kind man Port Charles once knew. The pain of losing Monica has caused him to lose himself and become hostile toward those around him, even those he once loved. What's even more terrifying is that Drew's behavior is slowly taking on disturbing characteristics, reminiscent of Shiloh, the man who once terrorized Port Charles. Drew's manipulation, control, and ambition are becoming clearer, causing those around him to shudder at the change in him. Drew is not only caught in a cycle of revenge but also starting to build an ambitious plan to consolidate power and control. He uses his loss as an excuse to justify shady and dangerous actions, including exploiting others' trust to achieve his personal goals. These actions not only deeply hurt the Quartermain family but also pose a great threat to the Port Charles community. People like Willow and Carly, who were once Drew's supporters, are now starting to realize the danger he poses. Willow, who once found comfort in Drew's presence, now faces a completely different version of him, a man whose pain and obsession have transformed him into someone out of control. Carly, who has always been skeptical of Drew, now sees the threat he poses and begins to figure out how to deal with him before things spiral further out of control. Drew's transformation into a dark figure not only pushes him further away from those he loves but also raises concerns about what he might do next. Will Drew realize he is heading down Shiloh's path and stop before it's too late, or will he continue to descend into darkness, causing everything around him to collapse? This story is not just about Drew's journey for revenge but also a lesson on the consequences of loss and how a person can change when they have nothing left to lose. Port Charles will witness Drew's terrifying transformation, and the big question is whether anyone can pull him out of the darkness, or if he will become the greatest threat the town has ever faced. This haunting storyline is sure to deliver unpredictable twists, shaking the entire General Hospital world. After the shocks and losses in their lives, Drew and Willow are forming a surprising but equally dangerous alliance in Port Charles. Their bond is not only born from empathy but also a shared goal, to protect themselves and reclaim what they believe they deserve. However, this alliance is not just mutual support but is becoming an uncontrollable force, with bold moves and calculations that could disrupt the town's order. Drew, who is slipping further into darkness after Monica's death, finds new motivation in Willow to continue fighting. Meanwhile, Willow, after deep wounds from Michael and legal pressure from Diane, sees Drew as a powerful ally in her custody battle and in restoring her position. Their partnership is not just a personal relationship but a strategic, calculated move to achieve their separate goals. However, the power of this alliance brings its own potential dangers, especially to people like Diane, Carly, and Jason, those who were once pillars in their lives. Carly, who has always been suspicious of Willow and Drew's recent changes, can no longer ignore the threat this alliance poses. Jason, who has always tried to protect the Corinthos family and maintain order in Port Charles, now faces a completely different Drew, someone no longer bound by old ideals but driven by obsession and blind determination. Diane, with her legal expertise, now has to face not only Willow in the custody battle but also the increasingly bold moves from Drew and Willow, making the situation more tense. The alliance between Drew and Willow not only throws Port Charles into chaos but also raises a big question about loyalty, love, and revenge. Drew and Willow's obsession with their goal is leading them down a path with no escape, where every action has the potential for unforeseen consequences. People like Diane, Carly, and Jason, once strong and influential characters, now have to face a new threat, not just from outsiders but from those they once considered family and friends. The story is becoming more tense and full of surprises, as Drew and Willow's bond is not just a simple connection but a storm waiting to explode, pushing everyone into dangerous situations. Who will stop Drew and Willow before they go too far? And will they realize the dangerous changes in themselves, or will they continue to slide down the path of self-destruction? Port Charles will never be the same as this story reaches its climax, bringing unpredictable dramatic developments.